Hey guys, Toast here. Welcome to another episode of Custom Kit. This is a series where you get to select every facet of a custom kit, including primary weapon, secondary, grenades, gadgets, and melee, and I'll discuss the different components, my preconceptions prior to using the kit, and then my experiences after having used it. Please excuse my voice during this video as I am obviously a little bit under the weather, but that's not going to stop me from getting this video out. Today's custom kit is courtesy of Harrison Avera, who submitted the Quick to Toast You kit. Harrison wrote, Quick to Toast You. Primary weapon, Model 10A Hunter. Secondary weapon, Gasser M1870. Gadget 1, AT grenades. Gadget 2, AT mines. Grenade, frag. Melee weapon, hatchet. All of your weapons are high accuracy dependent. Get it right, you dominate. Get it wrong, you die. You relish close quarters combat. You're all about getting up in the enemy's face and destroying them. Use the shotgun and revolver to blast enemies at close range. Use the AT mines to set a deadly trap for tanks. You're a non-stop assault player who will stop at nothing to devastate the enemy team in as little time as possible. As I haven't done a custom kit for the assault class yet, this kit really seemed like it would be good to highlight what the class does particularly well: close range carnage. Let's first discuss each of the different components of the kit and how each one influenced my tactics going into this, beginning with the Model 10A Hunter variant. The Model 10A is the highest single-shot damage potential shotgun of all available, dealing a whopping theoretical 168 damage per shot. The Hunter variant in particular has the added benefit over the factory variant of lower horizontal and vertical dispersion, meaning that the pellets leave the weapon and fan out at a tighter angle, allowing more pellets to hit at further distances. However, to counter this, the Model 10A has the lowest rate of fire by far at only 78 rounds per minute. As the kit's description mentioned, this makes accuracy key with this weapon. I knew if I hit my shots in close range, I would be pretty much in the clear in almost all situations, but if I missed a shot or two, I was going to be in trouble. While the weapon has zero spread while aiming down sight, the spread while hip firing and moving isn't terrible at 0.6 degrees, so my plan was to hip fire in close and very close range situations whenever possible, and then aim down sight only when I got to the range where I wasn't comfortable that I could get a kill in at least 2 shots while hip firing. The Model 10A has the highest vertical recoil by far, so aiming down sight and taking follow-up shots were not going to be a pleasant endeavor. The Gasser M1870 is not a weapon that I use terribly frequently, but it is one that I'm a bit familiar with. The weapon actually has pretty high minimum damage of 21, which I plan to take advantage of when I got to the range where the Model 10A's damage was too insignificant, or as a powerful quick swap if I ran out of rounds in the Model 10A thanks to the Gasser's maximum damage of 53. The one thing I did have to be cautious of with the Gasser was the very high reload time due to the fact that all rounds are reloaded individually. Moving on to gadgets, the AT grenades are amazing to take out vehicles and I use them very frequently, but seeing as how I was going to be playing with weapons that excelled in close range, I knew I was going to be relying on them as a means of flushing out enemies to try and force them into my ideal range when possible. I don't like the amount of grenade spam in Battlefield 1, but I anticipated that these were going to be a necessary part of the kit to make it really successful. As for the AT mines, they're really powerful if placed correctly, but I also knew that their utility was pretty much relegated strictly to taking out vehicles, and they couldn't really be used to aid me in my anti-infantry sprees. Because of this, I intended to take a set and forget approach to take out a rogue vehicle here or there while I focused primarily on the close-range infantry battles. All in all, I knew I was going to need to get in close or try to force the enemy to close the gap on me if I wanted this kit to succeed. Now that's what I had anticipated based on the components of the kit, but how did it end up playing out? Let's just say that I hadn't really used the Model 10A Hunter in quite some time, and I had almost forgotten how incredibly powerful this weapon is in the right hands. Right off the bat, I noticed I could pretty easily take out at least 4 enemies prior to needing to reload, which was helpful, and I found myself in multiple situations where I was against 3 or more enemies, and I was able to hold my own just fine. The Model 10A, despite some of the changes that DICE made earlier on to make it less overpowered, is still an incredibly powerful weapon if you have decent accuracy. Hipfiring was perhaps a little bit less accurate than I had remembered it being, so I found myself aiming down sight in closer engagements than I had initially anticipated, but the hipfire wasn't inaccurate enough to make me feel as though I was missing kills in close range. In fact, the Model 10A was so powerful and capable at the ranges in which I found myself most frequently that I very rarely ended up swapping to the Gasser as a secondary at all, because I very rarely found myself out of ammo while using the Model 10A. Taking out vehicles with well-placed anti-tank mines is incredibly rewarding, and I stuck with my initial tactic to set and forget in high-traffic areas, which, while not necessarily securing me a ton of vehicle destruction, made for a few vehicle takedowns here or there, enough to keep the mechanics satisfied. The anti-tank grenades ended up being used primarily for vehicles as opposed to infantry, which I thought would be the other way around with this kit, but they were extremely helpful in taking out those vehicles, as they always are. One thing that I don't use all that frequently that I forgot a bit about its level of lethality is the simple frag grenade. I tend to use incendiary grenades most frequently as I really like the room clearing potential that they have, but the frag grenades are extremely powerful against individual targets if you can place them well. All in all, this kit was extremely fun to use, suited my aggressive playstyle well, and I would highly recommend it if you want to play more aggressively and have a massive amount of power at your fingertips. Thank you again to Harrison Avera for submitting this kit, and if you'd like to see one of your own custom kits featured on a future episode of the series, please leave a comment below with the details of the kit, and I'll select one for the next episode. If you submitted one on a previous video that didn't get picked, please know that they're still in the running, but always feel free to suggest a different one as well. If you see a kit in the comments that you think is interesting, please leave a thumbs up on it. As always, if you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.